everybody, I'm Alexandra Soes. Welcome to my sewing room. Today I have got you in my hand. I'm going to carry you around the sewing room and show you a little bit about how I sew my patterns, what types of patterns I like to use, and things like that. Today is day 2 of Vlogmas, so we made it to the second video. Hooray for me. And hopefully we can make many, many more this month. But I thought I would just start with a little bit about patterns, since patterns are one of my favorite things to snoop on when I'm in somebody else's sewing room. So I am sure that some of you feel the same way. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to turn you guys around so that we can go around the sewing room and take a look. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this pattern cabinet right here. You can see this is a 5-drawer cabinet, and it has patterns in it, obviously. It is the same type of cabinet that you would see at a Joann's or somewhere like that. I believe this was used for McCall's patterns, or at the very least, when I got it, one of these had a McCall's thing in it. I bought it from some guy who had it in the back of his house, and I had it powder coated at a place that does like restoration painting and automotive painting. So let's take a look inside. Some of this is a little bit messy, but I figured in the interest of real life, we would go with it. So this top drawer is a little crazy because this is where I keep all the decorations that I like to change out for the top of the cabinet. So like right now I've got kind of a winter wonderland theme, but I have, you know, a whole Halloween setup and all that kind of thing. And so this top drawer is top patterns. So top patterns and coats and things like that. I don't have enough patterns that I like really store them in any particular order. Although usually I have in the middle, I've got like, you can see my Grain Line Studio patterns and my closet case patterns. I've got this, I got this at a swap meet recently, this Friday Pattern Company one. I've got this ancient paper cut pattern. I'm not actually sure if they package their patterns like this anymore. I bought this 7 years ago or something crazy like that. I've also got some of the Vogue patterns in here that are really large. So you can see I've got this Anne Klein pattern and a Donna Karan. And then over here with my regular patterns, I've got, you know, Sewaholic patterns. They come in normal envelopes, and I've got a lot of Big 4 patterns. I tend to work with a lot of Big 4 patterns, although I have been sewing more with Indie lately. So yeah, that's the first drawer. My second drawer is in a little better shape, and in here I've got bottoms, so that's pants and skirts, and again I've got a mix of Indie and Big 4, and some of these are also vintage. My mother-in-law, when she died, I was given her entire vintage pattern stash, and she was teeny tiny, so they're for very small people for the most part, but I may do something with them at some point. Here's a favorite pants pattern. I made this last year in a plaid, and it's really, really pretty. I love my ginger jeans. I've got some of my other large patterns over here like that. The other things that are in here are, this is an electric bias tape maker. They don't make these anymore, which is so sad because this thing is amazing. I make a lot of bias tape with that. And then in here I've got some bra making supplies. Down in the next drawer, I've got a vintage pattern that's trying to escape. We've got trims. These little things, there's some of these in each drawer, by the way. These are from the Container Store, and they're wonderful because they have movable little dividers in them. But here's my skirt drawer. As you can see, I am a big fan of the Sewaholic Hollyburn skirt. And let's see, I've just got, you know, again, these drawers are kind of all the same. So this is just kind of like a little overview. I've got some Indie patterns in here. I tend to buy most of my Indie patterns as PDFs, and I'll show you how I store those in a second. And then this drawer is kind of miscellaneous clothing items. So and vintage, the rest of my mother-in-law's vintage pattern stash that's not up above. So we've got some like nightgowns, some pajamas, a bathrobe. Man, I've been meaning to make this for forever. I just like never make bags. That kind of thing. Got another, I love this pattern. I've made this 4 times. I got this at the swap at Camp Workroom Social, so I'm hoping to make up some pajamas soon. I've got this pattern that I made once. It wasn't really my jam, but it was good to use to learn how to make bras. And then I've got costume patterns. So my husband and I really like to go to the Renaissance Festival. And so I make most of our costumes. And then finally, I don't even think I have patterns in the store. Yeah, I don't have patterns in here. This is just bra making stuff and elastics and ribbon and my heating pad. So that's kind of the story behind this drawer. The top drawer is tops, then we have bottoms, then we have dresses, and then we have miscellaneous and costumes. So that is how I store my patterns. So I also like to work with a lot of indie patterns, and I know you saw some of those in my cabinet, but I also, I like to buy those as PDFs whenever possible, and some of the patterns in that cabinet I have rebought as PDFs because I just find them so much more convenient. I get my PDFs printed at, or I get my patterns printed at PDF Plotting, which I think is pdfplotting.com. I can link that down below if you're not familiar with it. I feel like everyone uses them. They are located in Richmond, Virginia, and I live in Northern Virginia outside DC. So they ship, and they ship like instantly. So anytime I print from them, I usually have my patterns the next day. They're the best. Really recommend them, and I'll show you how those come and how I store them. So the patterns from PDF Plotting usually come in something like this, and they look like this. So this is a pattern, if I can get this folded out one-handed, this right here is a pattern for the Grainline Studio Pharaoh dress, and you can see it's really, really big. I don't want to unroll the whole shenanigan here, but when I make a pattern for the first time, well, first off, let me start with printing. When I print these patterns, what I do is if it's something that I think that I'm going to want to muslin, I will print 2 of them immediately. Now, I am hashtag team cut that shit out. So when I have cut out a pattern, I put it in one of these little manila envelopes here and label it. So here's one I just finished, Sewaholic Holly Burn. I just made a couple of those. And so in here are the folded up, cut up pattern pieces. But so I have a bunch of those up here. And that's working out for me for now. Okay, so one last thing, I want to show you my plan for the future. So my husband has been making me a cutting table downstairs, and this is kind of the 3 views of it. He mocked this up after I drew this. He mocked it up in a program that woodworkers use to mock up furniture. But see, it's got these little holes on right here. That is going to be where I'm going to put my pattern rolls, so my uncut patterns, and then it's going to have shelving so I can put more magazine holders with my manila envelopes, because it's getting to the point, you can kind of see here, it's getting to the point where I have a lot of them, and I just only keep getting more. So that's kind of the plan for the future. He's making that now, and we're hopeful that it'll be done around Christmas time, actually, so you may get to see some more about that in future vlogs. Okay, so that about wraps it up for day 2 of Vlogmas. I'm gonna go get my hair cut because it's crazy long for me. I know some of you are probably like, what is she talking about? Her hair's not long. It's a little long for me. So I'm gonna go get my hair cut, which I am really excited about, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and I think tomorrow we're gonna talk about fabric. Get excited. Bye.